I'm Monique Soltani. I'm a wine expert, a journalist, and I'm thirsty for life. This is Wino TV.
Rosé or Rosado?
Rosado.
Tomato? Rosé, Rosado? Who you calling a cougar, David? I pour myself some wine after he's throwing out the cougar.
What are you, desperate housewives?
Yeah.
You drinking Pinot Gris at home with the ice cube in it? No.
We're culture.
We love Italian wine.
We are pretty sure we were able to seduce the U.S. consumer to Italian wine.
I'm a U.S. consumer and I've been seduced. Let me tell you something.
And agriculture come together.
We've left California for New York City for an epic Italian wine tasting. With over 150 producers and 600 wines, diversity is definitely the word of the day.
Italy's viticultural diversity is unmatched by any other wine country. So you could drink a different Italian wine grape every single day of the year, never repeat yourself, and then still have a long way to go.
There's such diversity in the country and the grapes and the regions. You're going to find a style or flavor that's going to go with any type of food.
Italy has more grapes than anywhere else, a diversity of regions and styles, unlike any other country.
This is maybe the most important feature of Italian wine. You have a huge diversity. You have an enormous number of different grapes and different brands, so you can really find the right wine for you.
In the past few years, we've been working a lot in planting vineyards and white varietals. We do believe, Piero Antinori himself, the Marchese himself, believes that we should be drinking more white wine. White wines will be growing more. You have to think about yourself in the summer in Puglia, laying down on the beach.
So far in trends, I see grape varietals in Italy, become hot, one time or another, like Ribolla Gialla, which we happen to have today from Pugliati. It's one of the hottest wines right now, trending in Italy.
I think that Italy, we are lucky because in all these years, producers continue to invest in native grapes. I think that it's something difficult for consumers to understand the 2,000 different grapes.
I drink globally, so I love everything from Friuli down to Sicily. Heavy, light, rich, white, pink, red, I like it all.
Americans drink more Italian wine than anything else. Why do you think Americans are so seduced by Italian wine and Italian products?
Well, I believe there is a combination of things. First of all, I think it's the overall idea of the made in Italy, of the Italian lifestyle, of the Italian tradition and culture.
Well, it's a good lifestyle. I mean, you guys got the fashion, you got the food,
right. Fast
cars. You should know. You're a Ferrari. You got a good gig, huh?
You have seen from a research that 45% of the consumer buy a wine based on how much they like the country of origin. So if you're able to make the American like in Italy, then you are higher the chance that they're going to bring and buy Italian wine. I think there is a real story of authenticity behind Italian wine.
One of the great discoveries, of course, is how many wines there are out there that American wine lovers don't really know about, and what a need there is for education.
For someone at home who might be watching who the only thing they know about Italian wine is, say, Pinot Grigio, Prosecco, and Chianti, what would you like to tell them, or what are some things that they can know to broaden their horizons?
To taste and to decide just which they prefer. Doesn't care the name, but it's important the taste. Sometimes we are too much focused on the lessons that I need to know all these grapes that we lose the pleasant of drink. That you enjoy this wine for this dish, and that's it.
I would like to see more than Chianti and Pinot Grigio and Prosecco mentioned spontaneously by the people, but I would like to see also Barolo, Ornellaia, Tignanello, Sicilian wine, and so on and so forth, to really appreciate the big diversity of the Italian wine.
And we need you to help us pronounce all those obscure
it is going to be
we'll bring you with
a
us.
little difficult, you're right.
That's when we have the Google Translate. So
Absolutely,
you just do that, and then you know how to say everything.
It's going to help you tremendously to the Italian wine in the US.
We are in New York City at Spring Studios for Vino 2017. We are sitting down for Italian Wine 101. We are teaching you everything you need to know about Italian wine, a few things you didn't even know you needed to know. And if anybody knows anything about Italian wine, it is the David Lynch. Anyone who knows David knows he loves Italian wine. So I just want to start off talking a little bit. Obviously, you have a book on the topic. You're now the editorial director at Somms Select. Tell me a little bit about how you fell in love with Italian wine, David.
I went and lived there for a year and really was immersed in it because of that. That really changed my life, really, in a lot of ways. It was just witnessing that culture up close and living it day to day, learning the language. It was just a fantastic experience. My wife and I spent almost a year there.
And a lot of us are never going to be able to go live in Italy for a year. That's why we're so lucky that we have you here, David. But what were some, maybe some takeaways?
My main takeaway was just an appreciation for Italian openness and hospitality. In terms of the wine, on the wine side of it, I'm just amazed at the diversity. Everywhere you turn, there's great wine. And I think that there was an image of Italian wine when I was younger, and certainly in my parents' generation, of having kind of a certain couple, 3 wines that everyone knew and didn't really think that highly of, like, your Chianti bottle with a straw flask and a little candle sticking in it and that kind of thing. But what I found when I was there is just, I found Barolo, I found Chianti Classico, which I'm a huge, now Chianti Classico is a great example because it still kind of has a lingering, not great reputation. That's, to me, one of the most beautiful and important wine places in the world. And it doesn't quite get the love that it deserves. So that was a big one for me. I've been a real table pounder for Chianti. Friulian white wine, of course, which was really a total revelation. We think of Italy, I think, maybe more for red than white, but the whites are really coming on strong.
People at home sometimes can get a little confused with Italian wine because of DOC, DOCG, they don't fully understand. Do you have a couple tips if we're just at the grocery store and we're looking at a bunch of different wine labels, specifically Italian wines, some takeaways, how do I know what's what?
It is difficult. Obviously, we know that European wines are typically place first, grape second, okay? So in Italy, they call an appellation a DOC, or a Denominazione di Origine Controllata.
Oh, say that again. That sounds real sexy.
Denominazione di Origine Controllata, as I love saying it myself. And
I'm not even going to try to.
So if you look at the back label of this wine, if the wine is from a DOC, you will see that beautiful phrase that we love to say, Denominazione di Origine Controllata, printed out right below it. That is part of it. In the same way that on a French wine, you would see Appellation Contrôlée. All the European wine nations have their version of it. But the idea is that this is a place name and a production formula for the wine. So in this case, it comes from the Südtirol or Alto Adige, which is the region in the north in the Alps, on the border with Austria. It used to be part of Austria. It was given to Italy after World War I. You're going on location first. There are some instances, as here, where they'll also give you the grape name, but you're not always that lucky. People do get confused because it's really that place first, grape second thing. We've been conditioned to think, I want a Cab, I want a Merlot, I want a Sauvignon Blanc. Learning the place is critical to then learning the wines.
And that kind of brings us to wine trends. I'm curious what is kind of hot right now, because we always hear people are looking for these little regions, or they're looking for these different grapes, and you see these Somm lists and you're like, oh my God, I don't even know how to pronounce any of these. What is sort of the wine trend? What's happening? What's hot?
Obscurity is hot, There are, just really specific places. Etna in Sicily is hot, both literally and figuratively.
Yeah, literally it's hot.
It is wine grown at 1,000 meters elevation on an active volcano. It's pretty rad, It also happens to be delicious, so that's hot. But yes, obscurity is hot. Indigenous varieties are hot. 20 years ago, the Super Tuscans, a lot of producers who were looking to gain attention for their regions looked to Merlot or Cabernet Sauvignon or grapes that were popular grapes and used them in their wines, the Super Tuscans and so forth. But now people are equally intrigued with really random indigenous grape varieties, of which Italy has more than anybody. Italy's viticultural diversity is unmatched by any other wine country. The number of indigenous varieties that you have is, vastly greater than even the number of pasta shapes that, it's unbelievable. So you could drink a different Italian wine grape every single day of the year, never repeat yourself, and then still have a long way to go. That to me is the magic of it. Sustainability is hot. Now it's a big deal to be able to say we're organic, and that's a really positive trend.
That's a positive thing too, if you ask me.
It's a really positive trend. It's not merely words, it has an impact on the customer. People appreciate that.
And so since you've had literally every single wine ever made in Italy, I kid, what would you say is your favorite Tuesday night pairing and then your favorite, like, break the bank?
My Tuesday night, I gotta say, is probably a Friulian Pinot Grigio. You know, people are like, Pinot Grigio, what are you, a cougar? What are you, like
Who you calling a cougar, David? I pour myself some wine after he throwing out the cougar.
What are you, desperate housewives?
Yeah.
You drinking Pinot Grigio at home with the ice cube in it? No, Friulian Pinot Grigio, Pinot Gris, grown in Alsace, it's a noble grape variety, and in the Friulians' hands, it's not heavy, but it's substantial and it's delicious, and it's perfect. It goes with everything. It's as versatile as Chardonnay, and it's interesting, and so that's my Tuesday night. My break the bank is Old Barolo. You know, there's nothing that compares. With Somm Select, Barolo is probably the biggest impact wine that we sell online, because we're selling wines from all over the world, California, France, whatever. And in terms of Italian wine, I would say Etna, Barolo, Barbaresco, which is Barolo's neighbor, Brunello di Montalcino from Tuscany, which is not only fun to say, but also
When you go like this, you get to do this when you say it.
I'm gonna start pounding the drum on Somm Select for Chianti Classico,
Love me some Chianti Classico.
and for Friulian white wine,
Okay.
and for Alto Adige wine.
You named 2 places I've been. Oh, 3 places. I love it.
And so let's try
awesome.
a little. Are we gonna try a little
I
Pinot
think we're,
Bianco?
yeah, I think we are. And do you have a cheers or a toast? Anything you say? Can you teach us?
Chin chin,
Chin chin.
salute.
Salute.
I like chin chin. That's probably my favorite. And sometimes it's just chin. You don't even do chin chin. You just go chin.
You just want to hurry up and get to the drink. So, David, chin.
And usually it's a pretty robust clink too.
Oh, chin. We are helping you rethink the pink with rosé made the Italian way. I am so psyched to be joined by star Somm and wine producer Joe Campanale.
I think that Italian rosé is a really exciting category, especially for me, the rosés made from indigenous grapes. And that seems to be what a lot of producers are focusing on. It's a way to showcase a native grape in a style that people can relate to, can appreciate, but will still have distinctive flavors that are unique to that grape. Really, I think one that started that trend was really the Nebbiolo grape. We know Nebbiolo for making these great age-worthy, complex wines like Barolo and Barbaresco, but when Nebbiolo is done with just a short skin contact and made into a rosé, it makes a super flavorful rosé that tends to have really good acidity. And if you like Provençal style rosés, you'll like this, but I think it's even more distinctive and beautiful. But I think there's an Italian wine for everyone's taste at every price point, and I'm just so happy to be a small ambassador for them.
Yeah, well, you seem like you're a pretty big ambassador, Joe, because you know everything, apparently, and you're actually making your own wine. You're producing your own wine. I started off saying we're going to help people rethink the pink, and the reason why I say that is because sometimes people don't necessarily think of Italian wines when they think of rosé. Rosé or rosato?
Rosato.
Tomato? Rosé, rosato?
I think there's a few names for Italian rosé. There's rosato, there's Chiaretto.
Chiaretto? What's that?
Chiaretto.
Chiaretto.
It's a rosé made from red grapes, and it kind of means like clear, so it's lighter colored than the red wine.
Okay.
And then what I make is a Cerasuolo d'Abruzzo.
I'll say that 3 times after you had a glass. Say that again, Joe.
Cerasuolo d'Abruzzo.
Cerasuolo d'Abruzzo.
Brava.
What is that?
So that is a deep, full-flavored rosé made from the Montepulciano grape, and for me, that's the next wave in rosé. People can admit and drink rosé and know that it could be a good quality glass of wine, but the next wave is a full-flavored rosé that you can drink year-round, that is distinctive and flavorful, and to me, that's the next phase of rosé, and that's hopefully what I'm trying to produce.
And why did you decide to produce a rosé?
I love rosé, and it always kind of baffled me that people would drink white wines in the winter but wouldn't drink rosé in the winter. And this Cerasuolo, I thought there was so much possibility and potential there. I love Nebbiolo and I love Sangiovese, but I don't think I have anything to add to the conversations of Nebbiolo and Sangiovese. There are already so many great producers there. But in Abruzzo, a pretty large region, I think there's still a lot of potential for making really distinctive and unique wines. What I'd like to see is people drinking rosé year-round because I think it has a lot of food applications.
And so main courses, what would you pair with for like Italian rosé? Give us some main courses.
Something like duck, with duck, which is protein, which has a lot of fat to it. The rosé will have good acidity, and sort of those cherry flavors in duck pair well together. Quite a variety of fish or rabbit. A lot of pastas will be good with rosé as well, especially if there's any tomato sauce, because again, rosé tends to have some good acidity depending on the wine.
And we're talking about diversity, obviously. Talk about some of the diversity of the wines coming out of Italy.
Yeah, so Italy is a pretty small country, about the size of the state of California, but in the north you're on the border of the Alps, and in the south it's the same latitude line as Tunisia in Africa. And if you can imagine, it's a peninsula that goes out into the Mediterranean, and you have an incredible amount of geography in between, and that geography creates the wine. It's the history, it's the culture, and the geography. And with such a diversity of all three of those things, the amount of wine styles you have in Italy is unparalleled to anywhere else. So I think there's an Italian wine for everyone's taste at every price point.
One of the things I love about Italian wines is obviously there's so much diversity and there's a lot of values there as well.
That's true. I think that the value of the Italian wine is off the charts at every level of price. There's value at super expensive wines as well. If you compare it to the other expensive wines of the world, for me, Italian wines are on the same quality in the premium wines. At the middle level wines, you're getting better wines for the price, and certainly even at the lower end. But really, it's those like low to middle end wines where Italy super shines. For $15 a bottle, you can get a distinctive wine made from indigenous grapes from a grower who's perhaps had the estate in their family for many generations. And it's a product that's really just connected to the territory and the history of the place, and that's a lot of value for $15.
Yeah, folks at home, they're just kind of getting into wine. They don't know a ton about it. You want to give them a couple of takeaways, a couple pieces of advice that they can, take with them when they're at the grocery store looking at a wine list.
I think in general, look for more obscure grapes. I think there's such great value. There's a premium in Italy if you're going to buy a Cabernet or Chardonnay, and certainly there are some really, really delicious ones. But the grapes that no one's ever heard of can be every bit as good or better than some of those wines, and will cost less because people don't know them. So find a retailer or a restaurant that stocks some of those wines and ask them about them, and you'll be in for a really great discovery. And for me, discovery is one of the true pleasures of wine. Finding something new, opening your eyes to something new, and going on a journey through the glasses is super exciting.
Do you have a cheers or a toast, anything that you said?
Well, salute.
Salute. We're in New York City. We've got the skyline behind us. We've got some fabulous Italian wine. I am thrilled to be joined by Master Somm, June Rodil. Being a Master Somm, and obviously all the restaurants that you're in charge of the wine lists, etc. You get to try all the wines in the world. We're talking about Italian wine because we're here for Vino 2017. Talk to me a little bit about your thoughts on Italian wine.
I love that it's super diverse with different foods. And I think what's great about it is you're going to find a style or flavor that's going to go with any type of food. So we have a barbecue restaurant, we have a high-end steak restaurant, we have bistro food, we have 2 seafood restaurants, and there's a huge scope of Italian wines in every list because there's such diversity in the country and the grapes and the regions that you can find things that will go with so many different food aspects.
Talk about some of maybe your favorite obscure grapes, but ones that we could still get here.
I really love Aglianico. It's a really great red grape. It's really rustic, and it's great for people who love things like Merlot or Cabernet. It's deep, it's dark, it's got really great fruit notes to it, and it's got a drying component because there's pretty big tannins, a little crunchy. So you have that element of like, oh, I like fruit and I like big wines, but then you get something a little more rustic, a little more, I just call it Italian, but it kind of smells like a volcano because it was grown on it. So you give this element of something new to your guests, but also you hook them with something that they already know flavor-wise.
So my thought too is if you're looking at a wine list and you don't, or you're at home and you're like, oh, Italian wine, Chianti. No, Aglianico. Not that they're compared, but that would be like, now you have something to replace it with. You have a red to replace the wine you already know with.
Yeah, exactly.
And what about a white to replace?
For whites, we're drinking this guy.
Okay, let's talk about this.
This is Gavi. It's from Piedmont, so in the upper thigh portion of the boot.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. I would show it, but I'm really like wearing tennis shoes. You don't want to see mine. We'll show your thigh.
Yeah. So it's really cold, and so the whites are very fresh and light. And this is actually pretty rare for me to see that it's sparkling because it's usually still. So Gavi is the region, and the grape is called Cortese.
Cortese.
Okay. But it's light, it's refreshing, it's a little bit floral and honeyed, and it goes down really easily.
Well, I'm gonna have it go down real easily. Oh, that is fun. And what would you pair with something like this?
I mean, I love sushi.
Okay.
So I think any kind of fatty fish would be delicious with bubbles because there's really great texture. And also you usually have like very clean flavors, and this is kind of bright and citrusy and kind of salty. So it'll go really well with that like a clean white fish.
So someone at home who doesn't know anything really about wine, you want to give them 1 or 2 tips just to kind of get started on like maybe something they can look for on a wine list or maybe at a restaurant. They don't really know their palate and they don't know what they like yet.
I think my favorite thing to say or ask a guest is, what do you like to drink at home? Right? And it can be beer, it could be a cocktail, so at least we can kind of start a conversation of what flavors you enjoy, and then we can translate it to, okay, maybe you like Manhattans or something. Well, they're slightly sweet, they're darker, so maybe you want something a little bit more robust with some oak in it. So I think just be open with what you enjoy normally, and then we can go from there. I also like to say, like, if you can think about the weather a little bit, you know, it'll give you a great idea of what the wine's gonna be like. So is it sunny there? It's probably gonna be really plump and juicy. Is it really cold there? It's probably gonna be like fresh and light and acidic.
Oh, that's such an awesome takeaway.
Yeah,
I love that.
Where are you in the world? Is it cold or hot or somewhere in between?
And a lot of people kind of think about wine and sometimes they think it's like a little stuffy or they're intimidated. And what kind of advice would you give to them? Because I find that now wine is getting definitely more approachable.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my favorite, we wanna hang out with you, basically. Like Somms wanna they love an open conversation. That's my favorite thing, is just being able to have that openness with a guest and for them to just be honest and say, hey, I don't like this, it's cool, or I'm really into these wines.
And you're not mad at them if they don't like it? If they're like, oh, this isn't my stuff? Because people get embarrassed because they think we're offending you or whatever.
Don't. Because really our job is to find the wine that we have in our cellar that you're gonna be most happy with. Whether it's like style, price point, whether you do not care or do care if it's gonna pair with your food. So we just wanna make you happy.
Awesome. Well, I'll raise my glass to that, June. Thank you so much,
Absolutely.
and thanks for trying to make everybody happy.